Yeah, hi. Welcome to this week podcast. So before I get started, I just want to talk about Hurricane Laura, and it feels very sad this time. Mostly the coastal cities and most like almost it's one of the most powerful storms which ever hit the U.S. And apart from that storm, there's like I'm reading the news about the thick smoke which is spreading from a fire at a chemical plant. And along with this storm, having that chemical plant also, which is very harmful for the citizens. And it's like people have lost homes or not sure what to say about it. But this with the COVID-19 situation going around, this is a very huge impact, and not just the economy, people's lives, and how people are going to come back. So really sorry for that. And if you are listening to this one on the right time, please do the donations to the appropriate channels. I'll be also be part of the donations, which I am also going to do. But I'm recommending others as well, so that we can be helpful. Even we cannot be there in person with them. Let's have them in our prayers. All right? Yeah. So let's come back. So this actually like all these things are going on. People have lost homes. So actually, this week, not just because previously when I was talking about remote during the pandemic, I actually just mentioned about one of the topic called digital nomads. And with the hurricane currently going on, many people losing their homes, the COVID-19 situation, many jobs are outside. Like not us. This is like one of the lifestyle which plenty of articles which I have read, especially on the van life. I'm not talking about those Instagram people who actually simply shot so many of videos and don't know what different types of camera they spend for shooting those. But I'm just talking especially about the people who have really suffered a lot and who really chosen this path of living. Maybe some people for the so I'm not talking about here digital nomad, people who are actually financially very strained and people have been living on like in their cars or in their van. Okay, so for people who really have a very hard life and they're actually day by day working through their misery and making sure that they come out of it uh, actually, right? So it's really sad to talk about it as well, even when I really think about such thing happening such in a developed country like US. If it's happening, and even for my home country India as well, the economy has impacted a lot because of the COVID situation and the hurricane stuff, or maybe like in India and Andhra Pradesh, in the Visakhapatnam, when the gas leakage, so many things what happened, right? So things are happening, they're impacting people's lives. So it reminds me about one of the podcasts which I heard it on Hello Monday, where a person talked about that every human being goes through at least 4 to 5 like major setbacks in their life. It might be a death of some family person, financially losing everything. It can be anything actually. So many of us goes back, and what's actually what actually brought out of so many of stories is people always come back as in a winner. So yes, they go through very dreadful path in the 4 to 5 years, but they definitely come out as in a winner after a couple of years. Yes, definitely depression. This type of things takes a lot of time, but people will people who actually work hard and they definitely with a lot of family support or friends support, any support, and people have come out of their misery. So I hope So I'm not done. So this topic is not really about, but just that I was very interested, uh, as discussed in my earlier post, working remote during pandemic. If you haven't read it, please, I will share that article in the blog post show notes so that you can actually read it as well. And so we will discuss about a digital nomad trend, which is going on since last few years. I would say it's going on more than a decade, maybe, because I met a digital nomad almost 5 years ago, like 2015, I guess, during one of my hiking session, right? So I'm guessing things, nomad life might be existing way before as well. But only thing is that this trend is going a lot since last few years, and it picked up recently by few countries, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic situation. And I will share few notes based upon my conversation with my fellow hiker, a digital nomad I met 5 years ago in Boston, as I was amazed by his work and travel routine. Okay, so so actually, who are they, right? Uh, so digital nomads term is given to the people who makes their living by working from anywhere in the world with just internet connectivity, and more generally conduct their life in a nomadic manner. So mostly they work remotely. You can work from anywhere for a digital nomad, but typically this naming, like this terminology, is given to the people who actually maybe like work remotely from the foreign countries, and they really don't own a home. They don't stay in one place, and they don't go to a specific work location every day. So they keep on traveling, and, and they stay in hotels, they stay in hostels, because they are literally moving from one place to another, and they're, if they are getting a good income as well living this life, it's good. But sometimes, mostly you call it as gig economy or is the contracting, people will be doing couple of months here, but the main part of their job is not just working remote. Basically, working remote is a foundation for their lifestyle, but only thing is that their main uh, idea is actually to get away from that 9 to 5 job, actually, to see the world, travel the world, maybe not just world, maybe you're staying in your own country, you can travel your own country, maybe you travel your own state as well. That's enough, right? So people who actually doesn't stay in a place like 9 to 5, go to their home, go to office, come back. So they, like, you go for a vacation for 2 days, for them entire 2 years is like that, right? So when I say they don't have office, so they definitely work from public libraries, or some hotspots which are allowed to have working professionals to come and work on some rental basis. Some people actually work from their vehicle as well. So you might have seen a lot of blog posts, or else I'm sharing one of the video in the show notes, van life over the YouTube. So this video is by the alternate living channel, and there are many of videos were there, but I actually intentionally shared this one specific video about a young woman who is living in a van. So that is her tiny home. And so she really shows the both sides of the living, not just her traveling, her eating out, and she doesn't stay in a place. She lives in a van. So she sticks to one location, just that she just moves around on the vehicle. But mm, I'm literally sharing the video. The reason is there you can see plenty of other videos as well, but this one, the video is not with any sugar coating, I would say. You will see what exactly makes certain people to live such a life, right? So you can go through the YouTube video, which I'll mention in the show notes of this podcast as well. And so, as I said, it is not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm a person who like to know alternate living choices than this living in this consumerism world. right? So if you see my, um, minimalism might be a new word for everyone here. But I'm an Indian, and minimalism is something which is we have been living it since don't know from since our many ancestors, I guess. So that is so this is consumerism is something I guess a developed world, not on the country like in India, I would say. But even now, India is also like people are most westernized, bringing their westernized culture into their lifestyle, and so that's the reason. I would just simply, I'm not blaming anyone by selecting certain life choice. Uh, so everyone's happiness uh, depends upon what their happiness is, right? Living in a big villa is your choice of living, then that's fine. That gives you happiness, then that's perfect for you. So I'm not going to judge any judge, but I'm just talking about myself. So I'm a person who like to know alternate living choices. Then this looking into this consumerism world itself. As an example, this lifestyle can be done by younger people or retired people for a short term, not more than 2 to 4 years, I guess. I don't think anyone can be a digital nomad or simply traveling living on a van, because you'll see at least couple of people, not couple, I guess I met only one guy specifically. Others I have seen through blogs, or reached out through LinkedIn messaging. So people whom I have reached out just to know about that lifestyle. And I don't think they are going to continue it forever. So if that's the reason I'm saying not more than 2 to 4 years. So which I cannot for sure see. I cannot do it because I'm a family person. I have my own kid. I have my son, my wife, and I don't think I'm a type of a person who can pull it off. So that's the reason I think it's not everyone can do it. The reason it interests me is to know the alternatives, and even if I cannot live it, but I can learn few positive things from it. I'm interested to know about that lifestyle. Okay, just like that, like minimalism, right? So I'm not asking everyone to become a minimalist, but I'm asking to just hear the other side of the story as well, right? Just hear it once. Maybe there are few things which you can pick it up. So for me, like reading a book is an example. So I simply, whenever I talk about like reading a book, I'm not going to remember entire book, right? After a year or 2 years, right? I might be remembering couple of beautiful things or couple of important ideas or couple of things which have motivated me. There might be hardly one chapter in it, or there might be only couple of lines as well in it, right? Same thing over here as well. My intention to know about this alternative lifestyle is just to make sure I can learn few positive things from it. So the person whom I met in the Boston 5 years ago, I have seen both sides of the story. One having a fun living it, and another one is the loneliness as well. So I've seen both side of. So when you talk to a realistic person, I guess you clearly know what exactly a certain lifestyle uh, does to them, right? Don't go by simple Instagram. So, but one positive thing which I have noted, I would say, when talking to that particular person is they are very self resilient and very self disciplined. So, which not just a person living in nomadic manner, uh, living a nomadic manner should have, but every person should know, right? See, they are more self-disciplined because they have to live in such a small, tiny space, right? They have to be self-disciplined. So, but the only thing is that I guess everyone should be self-disciplined, right? So, yeah, but definitely those are the two qualities which I literally liked about that particular person, which I found out. Uh, so, so what was their main reason for living such a lifestyle, right? So at least I'll talk about the person with whom I met. So his main reason is for the financial independence. So he wanted something like a career that does not restrict to one location. Travel is his main choice, and freedom, right? So couple of other things as well. But like what actually my interested points were financial independence and freedom. Uh, so at the same time, they also report loneliness as their biggest struggle and burnouts as well. So do not go by a fairy tale over Instagram. Only very few people show the misery side of such living as well. So it is a personal choice, and I would say living in a moment. See, for them, you can judge someone else, but if someone is actually enjoying that living, maybe they are gaining financial independence, or for them it's a freedom, right? So that's actually, I would say, that they are living in that particular moment. If someone is enjoying such living for the moment, that is their beautiful world, right? So that's their moment. So for the time being, living in a van, if that moment is something is enjoyable for them, that's their beautiful world. So we are no one to judge about it, right? So as I said, important thing for me is to learn positive thing from anyone. So which if you have note, you can check my blog, the post. I'll mention it in the show notes. I have highlighted few things in bold, like self-reliance, then self-discipline, financial independence, freedom. So these are the few characteristics which the other person have shown me, but these are the few things which everyone should have it at least, right? So I have highlighted them in the bold if you are going to read the post. So this lifestyle may present other challenges as well, such as maintaining international health insurance with coverage globally, and also abiding by different local laws, and sometimes obtaining work visas, right? If one is working from a foreign country. So if you are working from your own country, then no issues actually. But mostly people from a developed nations with a passports having access to different countries for the tourism have taken this lifestyle to the foreign country as well. See, legally, one is not allowed to work on a tourist visa, so they end up applying for the work visa to stay in a foreign country. So you need to understand that these are not uh, so like for them, main part is traveling, but at the same time they need income as well, right? That's the reason why it's a work and a travel relationship. So that's remote work because they are not going to stick to one location, not going to go to visit one office. Remote work is a core foundation of this lifestyle. So this has resulted in creation of several programs targeted at digital nomads. So many countries have created multiple programs. So I guess the countries are trying to address the issues which are faced by nomads, as it's not legal to work on a tourist visa in a country, and also to improve the maybe their travel industry, right? Because they get a lot of taxes, etc., for themselves as well. And also with the COVID-19, the travel industry has been hit a lot, and now few other countries are also joining to create such programs. So let's talk about few of the examples. Uh, if you're going to read my post, I have mentioned the links. Uh, or also I'll mention the show notes as well. So you can directly click on from the podcast app itself. So Republic of Estonia has launched a new digital nomad visa. So that allows remote workers to live in Estonia and legally work for their employer or their own company registered abroad. So, so see, there's a difference in your regular visas where people will bring high skilled labor from a different country to your country, and but this is like a digital nomad visa. The definition is you can actually work from any employer, or even the company can be sitting anywhere. So completely contrast to my H1B visa. Uh, I would definitely love to have such a visa actually. Uh, but say you're not taking, there's no discussion of you taking someone else's job. Maybe you're working for your own company, you're still holding your own job, you're simply traveling around. You're just not going to the office, right? You're actually remote working. So, especially for the people who are actually traveling for foreign countries as well, because they're actually traveling on tourist visa, right? It's not legal for them to work, right? It doesn't matter if they're So that's the reason countries are also encouraging and actually giving these type of visas, right? So once again, so this visa allows to remote workers to live in a country and legally work for their employer or their own company registered abroad. So company doesn't have to stay in that country, right? So there are some restrictions for the application, as like many countries have some type of restrictions. It's not like everyone can apply and simply travel abroad for 1 year, right? So there are income level restrictions, that someone have to make certain level of income. It's not like too much, I would say. You can click on the link and from the show notes and read from the respective country what are their guidelines. So this will actually allow for a traveler to remote work and temporary stay in Estonia. I'm also giving you a link in the show notes for TripAdvisor if you're interested to know about Estonia, right? So if you want to know what all traveling locations, visiting places, you can look at TripAdvisor. And the temporary stays for 1 year. Okay, so I'm sharing the government Estonia Republic of Estonia government website as well, uh, where this visa notification is there. Another example is a West Indian island in the Caribbean. Barbados is also one such country facing drop in tourism, and they're capitalizing on the remote work revolution. So they are also allowing to get a work visa to stay up to 12 months and can work for any employer abroad. So family is also welcome. That's what it mentioned on the website. But every applicant you have to individually pay the fees. But family is also welcome in this visa. So in the show notes, I'm going to mention their Barbados location website, where you have all your visa frequently asked questions. So you can go through it. So the reason why I said earlier it's not everyone's cup of tea is because we need to know directly from the person who has done this living. So as I said, Instagram fairy tales will never share a full picture, and many will actually sugarcoat the lifestyle for the online views. So uh, at least for sure, I felt I cannot do that. Sure, felt I cannot do that for my reasons and visiting altogether different country. Yep. So that's the reason I'm saying this is definitely not my cup of tea. Yes, I can do like 80% in one stable location and visiting altogether different country, right? So 20% of traveling in a leisure time. But say if we are talking about working and at the same time traveling is not something I can pull it off. Okay, so that is just me. If I can go my 9 to 5, I'm working. That's I show my dedication towards my work. I want to come back to my home. I want to rest. Maybe weekend is the only time where actually I can take go out. But yeah, if the family is also there. Spending time with the family is also important. So I don't think this is something which I can pull it off. So all right, that is about me. So let me share my thoughts about my conversation with the fellow hiker. So they first need to have a strategy in place, according to him, to make sure that the travel schedule and the work schedule fit together. So that is why all their core job is working remote. So you need to have certain job so that you can work remote. Mostly people who are writers or working from some marketing or working on some websites, freelance, any freelance, anyone whose job can actually done remotely. Like I'm an IT professional. I have been working from home since last 5 months, right? So that is something like those type of jobs which can be done remotely. Uh, you can actually continue stay for longer periods. But for sure, not this COVID time situation. Although we are working remote, I don't think my job can be is not completely remote unless because if you are in a lead position, if you are to part of design analysis, you have to be with the team. Although a lot of Zoom is also there in person that chatting about the designs, talking about giving that ideas on the blackboard, they're altogether different, right? So for sure. But for sure, his travel was full of fun and experiences. But every now and then he gets imbalanced and lonely. So I would, as I said, right, loneliness, burnout is something which impacts him a lot. Although they have a lot of full fun and good experiences as well. So not knowing close contacts in a place burns them out. Especially say you are suddenly 1 week you're out, you're actually having cold, right? So you just have to sit in one place, but you don't have any contacts over there. Uh, so you're just all on your own. So yes, he met too many people in his travel, but at the same time, he said too many goodbyes, right? So he said too many goodbyes as well. That is like no one. I would say because he met a lot of people, a lot of photographs whom he met. Everyone have a different travel story with a different person, but he never made connections like certain connections with the place where he is staying because normally he stays for a short term, right? So that's the reason in such scenarios, definitely he get little bit imbalanced and lonely. So I guess it's just a cycle of getting balance in his journey because his main goal is to work remote and travel, having financial freedom, right? Uh, so he has his own keyboard ideas. So I guess it's just a cycle of it. Once in a while, 6 months, he may get into this burnout or loneliness, but again he'll again pick it up. That's how he was doing. So, but when I asked him, is he going to do it forever or for a decade? He said, not for sure because he has done more than 2 years now. 2 years something odd, I guess, exact 2 years. But he mentioned for sure that he will be done with this in couple of months or so because he is planning to stick to one location, get married, and have kids, right? So, although even I read a lot of blogs about the digital nomads, many people who are actually at that age or want get married, have their own kids, they actually going. They are also saying the same thing that at some point of time, their plan is to get so financially independent or get into relationship and see if that relationship also allows them to travel. Then it's good. But want to stick to a certain location, raise their own kids, send them to school and all that, right? So that is definitely that is something common between the multiple blogs which I have read. That is my quick update on digital nomads, which I mentioned in the earlier post. If you are not familiar with the title in my last post, I thought I'll quickly do it. And the reason I'm doing it is because since I mentioned in my last post, this at least two countries came out, Republic of Estonia and like Barbados. These two countries came out and they have released these type of nomad visas so that you can work remotely, stay in their own country as a traveler, work as well for any other employer. Your employer doesn't have to be at that location. Right? So that's the reason I thought I'll give a quick update and also share because people are going through so much right now with the COVID-19 situation. The lot more people I've seen recently on the LinkedIn. One of my uh, second connection mentioned about taking a decision to uh, living in a van. So they just started hardly a month. So I guess many people's circumstances are getting different, but who are like they don't have some support right now at their location or so from the family as well. So I guess they're trying to get lost or trying to find themselves uh, or maybe financial issues. So whatever that thing is, this trend is getting emerged a lot. But for me, the main part is the foundation of it is work from home. So definitely see my working remote post because I clearly mentioned that working remote everyone can do it. Don't say that working remote is not for my team, just that you don't know how to do it. Okay, there are a number of companies who have done remote work successfully in last decade. So you just have to learn that particular skills to make sure your team is also successful. I'll give the in the show notes I'll mention on my article so you can give quick read. I refer to some of the other websites, other blogs as well, so that you can definitely give a good read. Alright. That's all for this week. Pretty short, actually, right? So, if you are interested, if you liked it, definitely share a review on Apple Podcast or subscribe to my website sridharkaripati.substack.com so that we can connect weekly and do rate me on Apple Podcast if you liked it, because if you if we are going to rate, then it's going to help other viewers as well find me on the podcast, right? All right, then that's all for this week. Stay connected, share ideas, spread happiness.